Hi guys, this is Mark speaking. I'm a peak performance coach based in Switzerland, just building my online presence, and I've been asked on the BuzzSprout forum on Facebook how to link from your BuzzSprout directory entry to your website and use Google Analytics codes because you want to understand where traffic comes from. So that, as we see here on the Google Analytics page, you can actually go to acquisition, all campaigns, and then understand where the traffic is coming from. Like, for example, here we have a couple of get response returns, start principal returns, Facebook and LinkedIn, right? And you want to be able to actually segregate out the BuzzSprout generated traffic so that you understand who clicked on your website link from any podcast, like on iTunes or BuzzSprout itself or whatever. So how this works is, first of all, you need to embed Google Analytics code in your website. So what we basically do here, and I have to show you that not to like for a shameless plug, but I really have to show you how this works. On the website, I use a plugin called Header and Footer, so that here you need to inject your Google Tag Manager code actually into your WordPress website in that case, so that the web logic is basically reading out the Google Analytics codes. If you don't have that, that's not going to work, right? But that's the prerequisite to on your website to make it work. The next thing you need to do is basically you need to go to Google Campaign Builder, and here's the URL. You can just type it off. And what you need to do here is you can put your website URL, the base URL. It could also be a page on the website. You need to define the campaign source. In that case, I just put a direct forward from another website I own. So that's the source, start principal. The campaign medium is redirect. The campaign name is catch dart. But you put whatever you want here. For example, the campaign source is my podcast. The campaign medium would be my podcast, because it doesn't change between the different websites from where people actually click, because the link is always the same, whether it comes from BuzzSprout, from iTunes, from Spotify, from whatever. And then I put podcast forward. So what this page here does, it puts together the URL that you want to use to actually link from your BuzzSprout directory entry to your website or to your page for that purpose. So there are two things you can do. Is you can either copy the URL as is and use it, or you can convert it to a short link, and this is going to use bit.ly to shorten the URL actually. So we copy this URL, then you head over to your BuzzSprout podcast settings, and here what I already did is you insert just plain HTML code. So the href is the HTML for creating a link, and you just paste the link target in here, and this is the link to my website. So how it's going to look like on the web page, like on iTunes, Spotify, whatever, is like it's going to link. And what you see down here on the screen on the left corner is the link to the page. So if somebody clicks on here, and I just do that for you, see up here we have the UTM source, etc., and the script that has been injected into the web page header is actually going to tell Google Analytics that, and if we just go to the real time, I have excluded myself from the stats, but normally if you would actually head over to the website, then it would show the source actually. Let me see if I can do that for you, just going anonymous. Then I have to go to the podcast. So that's the podcast website. Okay, so we have here, that's the public website, podcastmarkinen.com. We head over to Here we have the cookie notice. So we head over to the website. We have the source in here. And if now we look into the Google Analytics, we see that here's one active user, that's me. And if everything goes well, it should show the traffic sources. Here we have the podcast medium. So this is now registered in Google Analytics as coming from the podcast. The only downside that we have is that if you do this here, the same UTM codes are handed over to iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you publish. So you can't actually per se differentiate between the different podcast channels. But I think that's something that you're actually getting from the stats. If you look from the stats, you have all the sources here. So you can actually a little bit correlate what works and what doesn't work. So that's it for today. Feel free to ask me any questions, either by email or on the Facebook channel.